officials enforce stricter security in the wake of that attempted terrorist attack on an airliner on Christmas. My next guest says better identification scanners can minimize the threat. Steve Williams is Chief Operating Officer of Intellicheck Mobilisa. It's a manufacturer of ID scanning systems. Steve, so first let's explain. So this is basically, you're basing your product on it's the scanning of IDs, but this alleged terrorist had an ID. He had multiple entry, permissions to get into the United States. How would your product have stopped what happened on Friday?
Well, good afternoon, Cheryl. Actually, what would have happened, we would have scanned his ID and run it against multiple databases. He was previously turned away, I think you saw, in London, and as a result, we could have used those type of databases, literally an unlimited amount of data sources, to validate that person and make sure that they weren't on a watch list or a no-fly list or a wanted list, for that matter.
Well, but now the UK, and this has been kind of a confusing piece today with them. They're saying, well, we did identify. We might have let the United States know that he was a problem. They were not letting him back into Britain. But you're saying that your scanner, your ID scanner, would check everything globally?
It has an unlimited amount of data sources. For instance, we currently operate at about 80 federal installations around the United States. We literally have over hundreds of databases that it checks in about a second. So literally, just like a TSA officer, you would literally scan an ID, a driver's license or a passport, and would run a bad guy check, as we call it, in about a second.
Now, he wasn't, though, on the tied list. I mean, there's all these different, there's no fly, there's tied, there's all these lists. So you're saying you would have stopped that. So, I mean, do you have orders for U.S. airports right now? Are you getting more interest after Friday in your product?
Absolutely. We're always trying to get the word out. As I mentioned, we have about 80 locations already in the U.S., and we're including more data sources every day. So we're obviously getting more requests today. IDN is up about 16%, and as a result, we speculate that it's because of the interest by TSA.
All right, Steve, my producers are telling me that you've actually got one with you. We showed our viewers a picture, but if you could actually hold up the actual product, it's okay, so it's fairly small. So can you give me kind of a show and tell of how this works?
Absolutely. It's literally a scanner. You point it at a driver's license, and it runs a bad guy check in about a second. It's that simple. So what we've experienced when we use this in courthouses, it actually reinvigorates the officer because it's an active tool. It's a tool that helps them do their job. It runs the bad guy check, and it's very inexpensive.
How much is it?
This is roughly $7,000.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's a little expensive. So if airports call you up tomorrow, how fast could you get this into U.S. airports, into TSA hands?
By the time they hang up, we'll have them a device.
That fast, huh?
Well,
all right.
We have a national distribution channel.
Okay.
We use a lot of the major vendors that you've seen around the world: Motorola, DAP, Roper. So we have distribution channels all throughout the country. All
right. Well, Steve, so you're in the business. Talk to me. I mean, in your opinion, if you don't mind, I mean, what do you think went wrong? I mean, how did he get through? Did he get from Lagos to Amsterdam to Detroit with explosives on his body? I mean, where do you kind of pinpoint the system besides the ID check? Overall, where do you think the system went wrong?
Well, I think the system, a lot of people have become complacent. We forgot 9/11 relatively quickly, and it often takes issues like this to remind us that there are still bad people out there wishing to do us harm. I think the system broke down.
He had a passport. I mean, do you think that the passport system is enough? Do we need to do something else worldwide to fight terrorism?
Absolutely. And people think that by adding machinery, a bomb is a bomb, but it takes a bomber to detonate it. Whether it be a bomb or anything else, you've got to screen individuals. That's the way you're going to catch the bad guys.
Steve Williams, Intellicheck Mobilisa. Thank you, Steve, for coming on Fox Business. We've got the stocks to watch to keep your eye on.